Film Guy recaps here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The film opens in New York, in 1989. A Pulitzer-winning novelist named Jake Davis is seen making his young daughter and his wife laugh, implying he loves his family. Regardless of any self-advances or love in return, Jake loves his wife. Sadly, his wife doesn't feel the same way about him. Over time, Jake's wife starts doubting that he's having an affair with a mistress. She often fights Jake in front of their toddler, Katie. Against all odds, Jake gets into a severe car accident when his wife, Patricia, continuously argues with him, asking if he's cheating on her. Katie, who is also sitting in the back, witnesses the accident but doesn't get hurt since she's in the back. Jake and his wife get badly injured. Given the severity of the accident, Patricia succumbs to her injuries and passes away. On the other hand, Jake survives the accident but endures massive brain damage. Katie, who is almost 10 at that time, is left with terror and pain that no toddler should go through. That night is an unforgettable night for Katie. With time, Jake's body develops a constant twitch due to nerve tissue damage. He often has trouble reaching out for things. From time to time, he also gets stricken with seizures and loses consciousness. Jake's doctor suggests that his mind needs to be operated on or else his condition will get worse. The doctor also suggests that he should stay in their mental care facility for a while, so they can examine and study his condition better. For the sake of his daughter, Jake agrees with his doctor. He hopes of becoming mentally stable enough to take care of Katie with responsibility. Later, Jake drops Katie off at her maternal Aunt Elizabeth's home. Jake aches when his daughter cries and doesn't let go of him. Jake's treatment takes 7 months to recover. He recovers enough to look after his daughter on his own. His friend, who is an agent, comes to pick him up. As soon as the sun rises, Jake goes to Elizabeth's place and meets up with Katie. Despite Katie's love being the same for her father, a lot of other things have changed in the past 7 months. Elizabeth, who still blames Jake for her sister's death, doesn't want Jake to take Katie back home with him. Elizabeth's husband, William, suggests that Jake should go home and spend some alone time for mental clarity and then come get Katie after a week. Seeing a change in the couple's demeanor, Jake disapproves of their plan. The couple then reveals that since Jake's financially unstable to raise his daughter, they want to adopt Katie and do him a favor. This infuriates Jake. He goes to Katie, packs her stuff, and forcefully takes her home. Jake is fully determined, and he is not letting someone else raise his daughter for him. Between the timelines shifting back and forth, the scenes shift to 25 years from Patricia's death. Katie is almost reaching her 30s. Katie is doing a PhD and is also a social worker. One day, Katie's boss, Dr. Corman, hands her the file of a 12-year-old who has stopped talking after her mother's death. Katie personally feels related to the case, so she shows interest. Katie tries to get Lucy, the traumatized girl, to talk to her in their first session, but things don't work out. Although Katie has a strong mindset and has come out of the trauma of her mother's death, she still goes through serious relationship issues and has trouble getting attached to people. That's why she is also seeking psychotherapy. She confides in her therapist named Carolyn, and reveals that instead of developing an emotional connection, she only seeks physical intimacy with men, which causes trouble in her relationships. On the other side of the story, Dr. Corman plans to hand over the case to a professional psychologist. Katie begs for another chance and gets another week's sessions with Lucy, which was a very narrow span. Back in the past, we are shown scenes from Jake's work life. After the brain damage, Jake was told to quit working as it could trigger his mental condition, but unfortunately, Katie's upbringing required money. Jake settles for a school teaching job which pays very little, but little enough to pay off Katie's school fees and basic needs. After a long struggle, Jake writes a novel and gets it to the publisher, hoping that he makes a good fortune out of it. Scenes get back to the present. Katie is running her session with Lucy inside a children's park. Eventually, the time window ends and Lucy is nowhere near to saying a word. Now that it was time to hand over her case to the professionals, Lucy finally talks and says that she wants her sessions to be with Katie. This touches Katie's heart and she sees her childhood reflection in her. In the past, Jake's novel brings home a little money. He gets a bicycle for Katie with that money and teaches her how to ride it. This motivates Jake to write another book. Little Katie suggests that he should write a book on their life and struggles. Jake takes his daughter's suggestion and publishes a book titled Fathers and Daughters. That book makes some good fortune and also becomes the reason for Katie's current meetup with a boy named Cameron. But we haven't shown the part where the book has been published. Cameron and Katie go out for a dinner, where Cameron also shares his hustling story of becoming a novelist. For the first time, Cameron is the first one whom Katie wants to see again. In the flashback, Jake is asked to sign his books for people who are purchasing them. While signing, Jake has trouble moving his hand and realizes he's having a seizure again. He goes back and puts himself together. He hugs Katie and pretends nothing had happened. In the present, Katie has finally found someone who is just as caring as her father. She starts to spend more time with Cameron and becomes emotionally attached to him. Story heads back to the past time when Jake decides to take Katie to Elizabeth's home event. There, William provokes Jake by undermining his financial support for Katie. Jake slaps William in his own house, full of guests. As scenes swing back to the present time, Katie starts nurturing little Lucy just the way her father would, in her childhood. Things with Cameron also go well. The two sleep together. Katie gives him a draft of her father's last written book, Fathers and Daughters, since he is a fan. She also starts opening up to him and tells him that he is special to her. In the past, Katie opens up to her father and cries, adding that she fears losing him. Jake makes a pinky promise that he will be by her side, regardless of what happens. But the slap he delivered to William doesn't end well. William strikes back and sues Jake for physically assaulting him. Taking perfect advantage of the situation, William demands Katie's legal custody to dismiss the case. This baffles Jake since he does not have that kind of money to hire lawyers and fight for his daughter. Jake's lawyer suggests that he apologizes and asks William to dismiss the case. Jake does as his lawyers suggest, but things only get worse. William has taken the slap personally. He threatens Jake to leave his property because he is not taking back his case at any cost. Instead, William says that even if Jake wins the case, he has all the money in the world to launch appeal after appeal. Back in the current time, Cameron wants Katie to meet his parents, which scares her and makes her walk away. Cameron understands that she's not ready, so he doesn't get offended. He goes after her and hugs her. In the past, Jake loses himself in the Fathers and Daughters book and pours his heart into it. He also manages to fight William in court. Jake gets so indulged in his writing that he loses track of time, eating, sleeping, or more importantly, Katie. Katie starts to feel lonely, so she goes to her father's study and throws a tantrum. Jake gets harsh and tells her he needs the money to keep her with him. Katie runs away and hides under her bed in fear. Jake realizes his mistake and makes up to Katie. He explains everything to her with love, so she understands and learns to give her father some personal space. Just like Katie, baby Lucy opens up about having serious abandonment issues and fear of losing loved ones. Katie feels attached to Lucy on a personal level and does everything with Lucy that her father, Jake, did to make her stronger. As things are going perfectly with Cameron, Katie repeats her past mistake and sleeps with another dude. She cries and tries to justify, saying that it was an honest mistake. She sheds crocodile tears, but Cameron breaks up with her and never shows up again. Katie is heartbroken and goes through a rough patch without telling anybody. On the other hand, Dr. Corman also drops the bomb that a nice family wants to adopt Lucy. First Cameron and now Lucy. Katie gets depressed and starts thinking that she's losing loved ones again. Lucy also slaps Katie and shocks her, saying that she doesn't want to leave her. They hang out in the park one last time. Katie tells Lucy about the book her father wrote many years ago and requests Lucy to seek help and emotional support from the book. Here comes the biggest plot twist of the movie. In the past, William gets accused of cheating on Elizabeth with his secretary and is settling for a divorce. This allows Jake to win Katie's custody. He finally finishes his book, Fathers and Daughters, and gets it published. Even his publisher is amazed to see him write a masterpiece in 3 months, a very short period. But sadly, Jake was neglecting his health and putting all his time into the case and his writing. Jake gets stricken with a very severe seizure that his brain arteries explode and he dies. At the end of the film, Elizabeth gets what she wants, Katie's custody. Katie is deeply affected by her father's death, and it is revealed in the current time that all her panic attacks and fears were because of his father, who died fighting for her. Katie wants to get over her fears and prove to her dead father that she can be strong like him. Without thinking twice, she rushes to Cameron's apartment and tells him that she's sorry and wants him back. Katie takes a peek from the slightly open door and finds out Cameron has moved on with another girl. Crying and out of breath, Katie rushes back to her home. In the past, Jake's Fathers and Daughters book goes viral. It wins him all kinds of awards and fame. That book teaches people that love is so much more than being physical with partners. The book inspires and promotes a father-daughter bond among individuals that cannot be mended or broken. The film ends when Katie finds Cameron outside her building. Both reconcile and get back together. To watch more awesome and thought-provoking movie recaps, please subscribe to Film Guy Recaps. Don't forget to like this video and tell us in the comments which movie you want to see next. Goodbye for now.